everybody, it's Rebecca here at Y Mermaids, and it has been a minute since I have done a video, but it's also been a really busy couple months here. For those of you who don't know, I am pregnant, and so it's been a busy, rough, tiring few months, but I'm finally feeling good again, and I want to get back into filming. Summer break is almost here, so I have time again, and so today and I've also moved rooms, because, you know, nurseries have to happen. So today I haven't done a wrap up since December, so I'm going to very briefly wrap up the last 4 months of reading, and then May should be a normal wrap up, like traditional, like actually give you thoughts on my books. But because I don't have time, because there are 24 books today, I'm only gonna tell you the book, the author, and my rating for it. I'm gonna do this in order of which I have read them as well, so we're just gonna go straight on through and kind of time travel from January through the month of April. A quick stats for you: there are 24 books. I have an average 4-star rating. One of them was an audiobook. I don't know, I wasn't feeling audiobooks for most of the year so far. I'm back into them now, but at this point, the one I listened to took 2 months, and I just kind of got burned out for a little bit after that. And then I have 3 rereads. 2 of them were for school, so they're not exciting books, but I read them for school, so I'm counting them because I read them. So anyway, that's enough chitter chatter and jabber. Let's just jump into my extremely long list, which I guess isn't as long as some people, but you know what? 24 books in 4 months, that's like 6 books a month. It's pretty good. Alright, so first up, started the year with Mistborn, The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson, which I gave a 4.5. Next up was my gigantic audiobook. I started it in the beginning of the year, but I didn't finish it till February, but that was Alexander Hamilton by Ron Chernow, the behemoth of a book, which I gave 4 stars. Then I read Now I Rise by Kiersten White, which I gave 3.5 stars. Then was The Rest of Us Just Live Here by Patrick Ness, which I enjoyed a lot more than I thought I would, and I gave it 4.5 stars. And then, of course, Iron Gold by Pierce Brown came out, so of course I read that one and gave it 5 stars because I love it and I am Pierce Brown trash. I read A Gentleman of Moscow by Amor Towles after that and gave it a 4, although in retrospect, it might have been like a 4.5, but I gave it a 4, so we're just gonna roll with that for right now. Then was my reread of Ready Player One in preparation for the movie by Ernest Cline, and so I gave that one a 4, which is I think what I gave it the first time too. It's fun. It has problems, but it's still fun. Then I read The Philosopher's Flight by Tom Miller, which I got from Book of the Month, which I gave 4 stars. Next up, I read Michael Vey, The Prisoner of Cell 25 by Richard Paul Evans. This was a student request for me to read it, and unfortunately, I was not a fan, and I only gave it 1 star. Then comes my 2 school books that I had to reread to, you know, follow along with my students, which were Night by Elie Wiesel, which is a 5-star always, and Animal Farm by George Orwell, which is a 4. I picked up Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor next and gave it 4 stars. Following that was Loving vs. Virginia by Patricia Hruby Powell, which is a graphic novel of the landmark case in Virginia of civil rights, which I gave a 3.5. I was feeling some historical fiction, so I read The Girl with the Red Balloon by Katherine Locke, but I wasn't a fan of it, so I only gave it 3 stars. Then came Obsidio by Amie, Kaufman, and Kristoff, which also I gave 5 stars because hello, it's the Illuminate Chronicles, it's the finale, it was amazing and I loved it, and it got 5 stars. Then I read The Last Equation of Isaac Severy by Nova Jacobs, which I gave 4 stars, followed with The Great Alone by Kiersten Hanna, which of course got 5 stars because it was amazing. And if you haven't read it yet and you like historical fiction or just want a good book, then you should read it because it's awesome. And everybody that I read it at the same time as like 4 people, and like just coincidentally, and all of us gave it like 5 stars because we all loved it so much. And this was a fun one because I got to talk to my mom about it too because she was reading it at the same time, and like it was great. Then I read In Order to Live by Yeonmi Park, which is the story of the North Korean girl who escaped to freedom into South Korea, which was very harrowing, and I didn't know a lot about that, but anyway, I gave it 4 stars. Then I read Commonwealth by Ann Patchett, which I gave 4.5 stars, and I'm kind of now obsessed with Ann Patchett. As you will see at the rest of the wrap up, well, mostly in May's wrap up, you will understand the obsession that has begun. I followed that with another adult fiction story of family, which was A Spool of Blue Thread by Ann Tyler, which I gave 4 stars. Then I went YA to Midnight at the Electric by Jodi Lynn Anderson, which I also gave 4 stars. And then went back to adult with The Interestings by Meg Wolitzer, which funnily enough, my hard copy of the book like didn't have 150 pages of it. It was like randomly missing and it repeated the last 50 pages, so I had to get it from the library to finish that section. It was really weird, but I gave it 4 stars because it was interesting. The interestings was interesting. Then I read Call Me By Your Name by Andre Aciman, which I loved the movie, but I did not love the book. I only gave the book 2.5 stars. I liked the movie a lot better than the book. It's just too meandering, too many thoughts. I don't know. And the peach scene is a lot harder to read than it is to watch, I think. Yeah, it was tough. Anyway, yeah. And finally, I ended out these 4 months with State of Wonder by Ann Patchett, which I gave 5 stars and loved it, and it was amazing. And I'm obsessed. Like I said, I am obsessed with Ann Patchett now. If you haven't read anything by Ann Patchett, I highly recommend doing so. Start with State of Wonder, because that was my favorite. Oh, it was so good. Although I read Commonwealth first, and that was really good too. Anyway, just Ann Patchett love over here. Well, that is it. That is my wrap up of the last 4 months, because I am a terrible slacker and just haven't gotten around to doing it, but I am back in the game. I am back here. I will have a May wrap up for you hopefully next week, because the end of May is this week, so fingers crossed for that. We'll get back into the game of filming. I'm excited for it, and I'm excited to see you around. So let me know if you have read any of these books, or if you plan to read them, if you want to discuss them more in detail about my actual thoughts and not just my ratings, then we'll do that in the comments or Twitter or wherever you would like to. And that is it for me today. I will see you next time.